Welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the next class in the December 2024 Top 10 series from myself and the MCoC Illuminati. Hopefully you're familiar with the format by now, but if you're not, we're going to jump to a quick explainer of the format out of this. The whole idea is for you to see all the different minds and experiences that go into creating that general tier list each and every single month, and also that there are so many different ways to be incredibly successful in this game. And that's why so many different people like so many different champions. And then we put that together for you each and every single month in the general tier list. And then before you head on, there's timestamps in the description so you can jump around. You'll see my rankings too. Of course, make sure you enter the drawing to win the free 6-star relic that I will be giving away. I have changed that deadline to December 30th, which is why the intro to all these videos is now the same. That's the day of the release of the general tier list in December from myself and the Illuminati. Make sure you comment on all these videos, you make me laugh, you show you watch the video, and you provide some constructive criticism on ways I can make my videos and these videos better so we can all have just even more fun and learn even more things as we head into 2025. Pay attention to YouTube comments because that's how I will be contacting you. All right, let's get into this. All right, now here's going to be the format for every single one of these class top 10s as we go through December 2024. You can see on the right-hand side, we broke the game down into 4 different categories. The way we are looking at the game, what we think about when we're making our rank ups, and when we get together and do the monthly tier list, right? It's what helps prevent the tier list from being too biased towards one person's experience for the modes they enjoy and those sorts of things. Broken down between battlegrounds, fun, alliance, war, and content. Fun is like, who do you enjoy playing, all right? And there's gonna be the personal and the recommended. For mine, I'm gonna always be going through the recommended. We're gonna look at the Illuminati's, and then I will show you my recommended. And then at the very end, we will definitely take a look at my personal too. So you can see how that is different based on what I personally enjoy and what I think would be great for someone who's playing the game in a similar way to me. All right, let's take a look at what the Illuminati has for us. All right, now, depending on the order in which you watch these videos, this might be your first introduction to William. Been on the MCoC Illuminati for quite a while. We got to know each other playing in SSX. He's been 2-time podium, meaning the first, second, or third in Tier War Alliance War, as a planner as well, and then highest BG Celestial 5. I am confident and certain that if William played the game more in Battlegrounds anyways, would finish even higher than that. The skills, the talent, and the knowledge are definitely there. You can see the priorities there are BG's 3, Fun 1, and Alliance War 4. So definitely a war player. The one thing I'll point out here is the confidence in Spiral. I have a feeling this comes from like seeing Spiral, probably someone in the Alliance, if not William himself, got Spiral, and then seeing what Spiral can do on the war map, despite her being an incredibly new champion. The rest of these make a lot of sense to me, and Enchantress, I'm sure, is there as a defensive threat for Battlegrounds. TJ, Tom Jarvis, does have a channel, not currently planning to make videos like this, but just in case they do, I'm going to show you the recommended, and you can always go and ask TJ for the personal as well. You can see Battlegrounds 2, Fun 1, Alliance War 5. That's the highest Alliance War score we've seen. You can see by the multiple finishes there, Masters, Alliance War, even a planner there, TJ. TJ planned some of my wars for a while when I was at SSX. And then Celestial 4 Battlegrounds player. This is obviously an outrageously skilled, talented, knowledgeable player. The surprising things for me are actually the appearance of 2 6-stars still up there, while I'm kind of calling for, their ability to do great work in high battlegrounds and things like that. In war, they still can, though, especially those 2, right? They're so powerful, Tire Earth Neutralize, and that amazing burst damage. And then Absorbing Man, with all of those immunities, is a phenomenal champion. The one champion that stands out to me, there's actually 2, is Diablo and Symbiote Supreme. Symbiote Supreme, I think, is insanely valuable right now, particularly in war. I see him used to take out serpents on difficult nodes. It just really, Symbiote Supreme is the best option there. And then Diablo is one of those champions where, like, he's phenomenal, he's amazing. You're going to hear me kind of talk about him a few other times in this series, where he's great. It's just the class around him has gotten, I think, significantly stronger, right? He's basically a nullified champion who then does poison damage. Doesn't always line up well in the Cosmic class, which is where he's supposed to be strong, because they often have poison immunity. That being said, he's recoil friendly, which is incredibly unique in the Cosmic class. And so it makes sense to me he's out there. When I grade his just power level as a general champion, he grades out exceptionally high, and that's why we still haven't made as highly in the general tier list as we do. Jaeger as well, who you've probably met now by doing these videos. You can see the credentials there. Still, also Jaeger may make videos, so I'm crossing out the personal. As you look at this, you can see incredibly smart player, knows what he's talking about, has seen the videos, watched my videos, the other MCoC Illuminati videos. Still has Dr. Doom rated very highly, right? And that makes a lot of sense. Again, just talked about Diablo, a champion that grades out exceptionally high. Doom, of course, extremely tanky champion, a lot of damage once you get the Doom cycle going. So it makes sense that a 6-star can still do phenomenal things. And then again, Jaeger's ranking with the highest priority of fun. Well, typically good champions are the fun ones because you dominate fights and have great success and win. And we also see Rintra there, who you're going to see come up in my own rankings. Moving on to Egatron, right? Balance between Battlegrounds and Alliance War, and you're seeing Spiral. Now, again, Egatron is a planner. So again, this is part of pointing to one of the things we've talked about quite a bit on this channel. Mystic has had a massive power up in the last half of 2024 and over the course of 2024. Spiral being one of the newest, Isophene just being the next one. But Spiral in War, this is the second time we've seen this. Clearly, she's making a dent. Her signature ability is helping that out tremendously. And we will be talking about Spiral a bit more as we move on. Moving on to BMcG. I'm sure you're familiar with this channel. If you're not, you should be. Moving on, and he's got the highest score of War and content. Making sense that there's still Dr. Doom up there. I'm a little surprised to see Absorbing Man, but I think the War aspect is keeping Absorbing Man up there, that absolute flexibility. And then Tiger as well, too. Definitely fun. Still good in some forms of content. You are starting to pay what Campo's calling that 6-star tax. I do think that makes a lot of sense. And then kind of surprising to see Guillotine Deathless up there as high as she is. I'm wondering what B knows, and I'm really hoping B does his own videos, which actually I know he will, and I'm definitely going to be checking those out. Those will be linked in the playlist for the December top 10s as we provide all of this knowledge over the course of December. Moving on to Campo. Now, Campo has done his video. I hope you've seen it. If you haven't, you really should, and you'll see his personal kind of thoughts, and he goes over those in great detail. I learned a lot from watching his videos. You still see the 6s. Now, this is a little bit different. If you see, Campo's got a 0 in Alliance War. Very much about the fun and the content is where he's playing the game at now, despite his previous experiences. Doom just is Doom. This is the one Mystic champion that, for me, very much feels broken, not OP. One of the main reasons why I'm positive we've not seen him as a 7-star yet. And honestly, I don't think he's coming because I think releasing him as a 7-star ecosystem would just bring about all those same problems. The cool thing is Mystic is doing just fine without him. And then moving on to MCoC Encyclopedia, whose alliance literally just won Masters. They won it. The first place. Congratulations to them. Very cool to see. They've been a phenomenal war alliance for a very long time now. Great to see them come in first place. And you see the 6-stars still there talking about what I think is the brokenness of Dr. Doom. And then again, Absorbing Man, that flexibility. And then this is the first time I believe we see Black Widow Clairvoyant, another insanely flexible champion who we saw what Kabam did when they accidentally put her on that Twitter poll. They could not get that poll down fast enough. In fact, they didn't get down quick enough because a lot of us saw it. But it's that SP2 and the buff immunity that she has. No one's immune to it. And it just gets rid of literally everything. And then we see Symbiote Supreme again, good for Serpents. I wonder, as we continue to see more and more Mystics that counter Serpent, will Symbiote Supreme keep this sort of rankings? We're going to go ahead and talk about it quite a bit as we head into my rankings. All right, let's jump into this. Now, we're going to start off with my honorable mentions, and I'm going to start off by cheating a little bit on this one. I've been leaving everything to only 3 honorable mentions, and I think that cheating is a great way to develop trust in the content creator-viewer relationship. These graphics were created before I was able to just fully dive in and test Isophene. And I didn't want to go back and ask Misty K to totally recreate the graphic because she's done so much work for me. I'm asking for significantly more over the course of this month. You're going to see, if not already, how many videos I've put out in December. It's a great month. There's so much going on. Isophene is phenomenal. Check out my new champ video on her. If there are buffs for her to nullify, she pops off. In this game, we're not moving to where the niche is the desired, but man, we are getting closer and closer to it as we've moved on from years and years of just your champions with insane versatility dominating. The game has grown. The game continues to get more complex. The defenders continue to get more complex. And so having someone who can take them down when that's asked out of you is becoming more and more valuable. I know actually, if I could redo this whole thing, Isophine would be in strong consideration as I look at my list for 9 or 10 and easily in the honorable mention. And the only reason she wouldn't be easily in the top 9 or 10 is because I just haven't had enough time testing her in the actual game, in Battlegrounds over the course of multiple seasons and EOPs and all of that thing. But she's great. Check out that video. Now, moving on, we will quickly talk about Longshot. I do think Longshot's kind of on the downward side of his being in top 10 conversations. Good dual threat in Battlegrounds, but the class is really moving on. It was a bonkers year for Mystic in 2024. The next one is Hood. As you can see, I do not have a 7-star Hood. I have a feeling that if I had a 7-star Hood, I know he would go to rank 3 if he was awakened, especially as that SIG grows, because the SIG does add a lot. But if I had all of those things, I think my own personal experience would push him easily into the top 10. He's a great champion. He's good in Battlegrounds. He's good in war. He's good in questing. Remember, this is all through my prism, personal priorities of 4 Battlegrounds, 4 of fun. I have never once found myself lacking for an option when it comes to war fights or for EOP or for questing when I've ranked up, making sure I've got following my Battlegrounds tier list every single month, and then fun. That's what has made it so I continue on, because I don't enjoy crappy champions. So even if they're not good for Battlegrounds, I've ranked them up and I have someone available for questing content. Here's Hood signature ability, getting that power steal up to a higher degree. 45% when you're landing a 5-hit combo ends up to a good amount of power steal. Also, the stun immunity is extremely helpful. And then we won't go to this champion, but it's actually Kindred. Kindred is a great defender, especially as you get the SIG going, because even if you make a mistake against them, or even just a tiny mistake against them, you've got the fight going well. They really do a nice job of trapping you. And it feels like the animations have gotten a little more tough to punish off the SP1, the SP2. For me, there's obviously clear heavy bias. So this is one of those champions where even if you've played them well, and I've done the video on how to fight Kindred, you can still make a mistake at the very end, come out and like 20% of your health bar is just gone, right? And that gets scary in war. It's bad in Battlegrounds, and it's definitely not something you want happening to you in questing content. Kindred does have that atrophy, which will reduce the duration of buffs. So not a bad attacker. We've seen MCoC Grass use Kindred in war. I like Kindred, just a little slow, mainly on here for Battlegrounds defense use, right? And that's why Kindred is on this list. Now, we will talk about the number 10 champion. This is another champion that, due to newness, is here. You saw how high some of the Illuminati had her rated. I loved her in my CCP testing. She does reward high skill, and I mean that. Like, there's some combo stuff you really want to do to, I think, make her a champion you want to take into tough content. You have to play her relatively well, actually very, very well, but she rewards you. She's great in fights that have power gain buffs, right? Which is frequent. That's in nodes, fenders, those sorts of things. And then, of course, she is a serpent counter. I think we talked about this in the Illuminati section of this. Getting that signature ability up can help allow you to take fights that have shock, incinerate, and poison. That is 3 of the big debuffs that we see on hazard shifts, those sorts of things. So Serpent, other cosmic champions, she can hunt them down for you there. I really love the stun mechanic with the swipe and her dancing swords. There's a lot to her. I do want to pull her out of the Titan. I might not immediately rank 3 her because I love this class. I have so many rank 3s in this class. I have more rank 3s to do. And we're about to talk about some champions that I personally enjoy even more. Let's go ahead and get to them. We're going to go briefly talk about number 9. We don't have to spend much time on her. In fact, we'll spend less time on her than it takes you to get through the first paragraph of her ability kit. She's a defender. She has some clear, for me, that feel like AI stuff. Like, she'll throw that SP1. She does not care if you're blocking. She doesn't care. She does not care. There's no pure hard counter, as far as I'm concerned, for her in the game. There are some skilled ways to take her. I have some favorite counters for her. She does tremendous damage off of that. Any sort of power gain meta just drives her like through the roof. She can be a good attacker if you're willing to put up with her finickiness, and then again, learning all 9,000 of her spells. Campo really enjoys her, has a great video covering her. MCoC has used her as well too. But I want to be perfectly clear. She is here if you're interested in Battlegrounds. If you're not interested in Battlegrounds and you're not interested in her spellbook, do not rank her. Do not rank her. She is here for a very specific set of players in this game that want to dive into it. I'm glad she's here for them. But if that's not you and you're not taking Battlegrounds seriously, do not rank her. All right, now we will move on to where, I mean, this is getting good now. I'm getting excited. You can see the smile. I can feel the smile on my face. Shothra being at 8 is like, how? How is that? How is she only at 8? I told you when this champion first came out, I absolutely loved her. She's got that atrophy, so she's helping me take Maestro. I use her to take Serpents. I use her to take Warlocks in Battlegrounds. She does have that limited nullify. I can hear it in my voice. I'm going to try to chill out a little bit. I just really love her. She's such a great design. You hold your heavy, you kill eggs, and then you turn them into wasps, and then you kill the wasps. Like, she's very thematically exciting and makes sense. It's awesome. And then no one's immune to her stuff, right? It's energy damage, so high energy resistant champion. She's not going to pop off nearly as much. But some of the fights I pulled off have just been like bonkers. Like, they just shock me, where I'll be in a Battlegrounds match and I'll be like, I guess Shothra might be able to do this. Because I like to force in champions in Battlegrounds. It's more fun. I enjoy that. And then that's how you find cool interactions too. And then Shothra's like, I got you, bro. I got you. We're going to kill some bugs along the way. But you do that, you throw maybe one SB2, maybe 2, you get your SB2, via your heavy, right? Stealing all that power, you let the first hit connect, then you throw down the special 2, massive, massive damage. No one's immune to it. She's stealing power for days. Absolutely love her. I haven't even gotten to explore her whole totem thing. In January, that's one of my big to-dos on my to-do list, is to explore all her totems, Spider-Gwen, all that. Just have a lot of fun with it. Fantastic, phenomenal champion. I could definitely see her going up, but Mystic's so good, I don't even know. Part of what just makes 2024 was a dominant year for Mystics. Moving on. Now, this is my recommended list, and we'll talk about when we go to my personal, but I actually have White Tiger. One of the reasons she is 7 and not higher is she's impossible for me to separate out how much fun I have with her versus how good she is. I also know that, like, she does have that style where you're diving in. Now, her intercept works out really well, her animations and things like that. So that does play into it a little bit. I can see why, like, some war players are like, she's a little risky. But I've shown you the videos. I showed you, I think she's one of the best punch-up champions of the game. By what I mean by that is, you saw me taking out rank 3 Serpents, like, with 50,000 scores in Battlegrounds. With her signature ability, she can get going really well, can be helpful in like slightly longer questing formats. B McG has shown her doing great. I've shown her doing well. She does have a bit of a skill cap, but look, I've gotten it. It's not that bad. Old Man Easy's loved it. She has the strength of this fighter with the Purify, which helps you take Gore and other of those cosmic champions with all of those buffs. She actually has this limited nullify here when you end a combat with a combo ending off a power gain or energize, right? It helps you really think through. Do I want to get rid of that buff off of Serpent, or do I just want to let him do it? And then I'm going to steal it all. And then the SB2, I'm ruining my whole personal thing. I was supposed to talk about this personal, but I just love her so much. It's this bleed. While this bleed is active, the opponent cannot heal, and the healing denied is transferred to White Tiger. So if you've made a little mistake, you've taken some chip damage, you get that heal up, they try to heal, and then you get the heal back. I love her. Love this champion. I love playing her. And like I said, I don't love crappy champions. I don't enjoy dying or fights taking 10 years when they really could take 2 minutes. She's awesome. I love her. There's a reason why I love her. Now, let's move on. Feels a little weird for me that I only have her as 6. I think, and again, this is recommended. I am fighting my own personal bias. I'm sure you know by now. I got to help. I got to be part of the design process with her. I like to joke around that I made her, DLL made her. I got to be there. I held his pencils and I made sure his water and coffee were always full. And I got to throw out some ideas that he would chuckle at and say that's cute. She's great, right? She has that whole thing where she puts the buffs on the champions, the ignition. That's where ignition buffs came from. They don't do anything, but they allow her to throw her SB1 and nullify them, or you go to her SB2, put on the Soul Barb. She's a phenomenal champion. She hasn't been very good in the last few Battlegrounds metas, but that's a Battlegrounds meta. Like, that's what it's supposed to do. Some champions aren't going to be good. Some champions are going to be better than normal. She's phenomenal. I've used her in high tier war. You've seen me use her at SSX, taking out war bosses. She can block unblockable attacks, not unblockable special attacks, unblockable attacks. She can be a little high skill, okay? With her blessing system, keeping those up, trying to get the pause, trying to get the one that you don't have as many of. But if you can get that down and you're punishing one of those heavies, you are richly rewarded. She is a phenomenal, phenomenal champion. On our general tier list, she actually shows up higher. But this is, again, battlegrounds and fun. And I'm fighting my own personal bias. My own personal bias, she'd be number 2. You'll see that on my personal list. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to number 5. This is definitely prognostication. If you saw my latest Battlegrounds update, you're aware of this. We talk about this at length, so I'm not going to belabor the point. The only reason Rintra fell off was because he was only out as a 6-star. Now, science champions coming out and just like breaking the mold or whatever you want to call it, just breaking the ceiling, had a little bit to do with it. But now that he is back as a 7-star, he is going to be one of the largest health pools in the game. He has a problematic kit to fight. Like, it's very disruptive unless you have like Silk, okay? Photon's going to be good for him too. We talked about that with Photon in the science video. But then here's what I like about him offensively. All attacks, at second bullet point, against cosmic and superior champions, instead the neutralized chance is 100%. So every time, right, unless they have something extra going on. Potency is 200%. Hello Serpent, right? You get that crit off the SB2, and with the 7-star, you're going to have the crit stat focus, which was one of Rintra's biggest issues. This is a Battlegrounds thing. Now, he's going to be good in questing too, don't get me wrong. But if I pull a Rintra, I think I might want him initially awakened. Yeah. Immediate rank 3. Like, as soon as I possibly can. Rank 3, probably going to be an absolute mainstay in my Battlegrounds deck as a dual threat champion with a significant defensive leaning bias. He's great. I used to use him all the time in war. This is going back to 4 Loki days. He just does great, great things. Phenomenal, phenomenal neutralize. And I think they cleaned up his kit a lot. So hopefully he makes a lot more sense with the way he's worded and the way he's actually supposed to work. All right. Now we get down to number 4. Like I said, I love this class. I just love this class. We're going to go with Werewolf. Really fun thing about Werewolf, thing that always kind of makes me laugh, is that Werewolf was built as a defender. And you can see that. The animations are kind of like janky, right? I think it has a little to do with what looks like a little bit of like almost claymation. It's very cool. I like the way Werewolf looks, don't get me wrong. The signature ability here, the ability to go unblockable and unstoppable, insanely powerful. You can see how that would be a threat on defense. The ruptures into block. I'm kind of naming all the things that, like, he's not a bad defender. Definitely not. But the irony is, because of his power gain, and we talk about this on this channel all the time too, power gain. You have power gain, you got me intrigued. You then have the damage that Werewolf has, and you got me loving you, okay? You can play this champion just hitting into the block of the defender outside of this last Battlegrounds meta. That was fun. It was cool. I love them throwing stuff at me. It's like, I don't want to play the same nodes over and over. So, but typically, let's say while I was learning how to evade Onslaught's SP1, I would just hit into Onslaught's block, back up, chill out for a minute, hit into the block, back up. All the while my power gain is going, and you're not just wasting time. You're actually building your lycanthropy charges. You then go unblockable, go in for your special too, and absolutely obliterate an opponent. He's phenomenal. He's great. I haven't gotten a video out on him since I've gotten him awakened. My rank 3 showcase was actually on Werewolf unawakened. And then where's the thing about how he handles poison? I want to find this because I think people need to see this. There it is. Second bullet point. Werewolf by Night is immune to heal block. Oh, that's cool. And incoming poison suffer 90% duration, but he has a 50% regeneration rate when fighting. So don't do that against silver champions, okay? But that is really good, right? We just talked about Spiral. I had to remember her name. Her signature ability, now she has it against 3, but you've got to get 199 6 stones if you use an Awakening Gem. Werewolf just comes with a 90% duration just built into his kit against poison, which is one of the bigger ones you see on these Hazard Shift nodes. Love this dude. I love the pup. Love the pup. Bitter Steel was on Werewolf very, very early. Could not have been more correct. This next one, this is purely on my own recommendations. We'll look at my personal list very quickly so you can see it, my own play experience. But this is actually going to be Sasquatch, widely considered to be one of the best Battlegrounds dual threats in the game. You see the signature ability, the healing, and all that stuff that comes in. Does have the Cold Snap immunity or the resistance. I thought it was immunity. That's really cool. Immunity to frostbite effects and armor breaks. There it is. And then the combat power rate, where is it though? It's when he goes into his Wrath of Tanarak, okay? Special 1 and Special 2 cost 50% less power, and the Special 3 attack costs 25% less power. So if you get pushed to the Special 3, it's not a horrible thing for you. And then when the opponent has 3 full bars of power, so you can actually push them red. Special and heavy attacks will power drain 5% of their max power. So when you're in this Wrath, you really can go like hog wild with him. And you're going to get to your special and just repeat. I know one of my biggest kind of like on him is the Special 2. It just so rarely crits. Like I just said with Rinter, though, the stat focus helps that out tremendously. The largest health pool in the game. Actually, Rinter might be larger. I actually don't recall, but they're both way up there. Both great defenders. Has the protection, right, with his Wrath stacks on his defensive kit, so that's adding to it as well. Don't see him going anywhere. You'll see the difference on my own personal list. Now, again, this is the recommended list. I can't not recommend Juggernaut. The highest Battlegrounds performance I've ever had was Celestial 6. In that meta, I had a rank 5 Ascended Juggernaut at a time where I think rank 2 Juggernauts were primarily what you saw. There was only a few rank 3s running around in the game. I can't deny that having a Juggernaut at the highest level in a meta where he could actually work was part of why I had so much success. He's phenomenal. He's great. Kabam can shut him down relatively easily. There's defenders that keep coming out that can shut him down easily by putting those non-damaging debuffs on him. He does have the Nullify off the signature ability. So this is a champion you can use in questing. He's got the stagger off the heavy. So there actually is versatility in this champion. It's just the burst damage off the SB2, the ability to use the Unstoppables as an intercept mechanic, just play into him so incredibly well. And the damage is immense that you can't deny. He's phenomenal, but you can see I consistently make Quantum or Mysterium, sorry. And I don't even have a rank 3 Juggernaut. He's one of the on the list though to get there. It's been easier to ban someone else's Juggernaut and just play with all these other mystics that I love that can take Serpent and other champions as well. And then now we're gonna get to the best of the best. The timing of that could not have been any better. Yes, there's been a wardrobe change. The shirt just showed up in honor of the Spreadsheet Wizard. I know a lot of you enjoy your spreadsheets too, especially when you're thinking about what champions to rank up, that sort of thing. This will be for sale. Check out my channel later. I'll get that up. But this is about America Chavez, the Wizard of the Mystic class, the best champion, the best 7-star. We'll be going over the full top 30 best champions in the game, and you can guarantee she will show up. If you're watching this channel, there's no way you don't realize how phenomenal, amazing, dominant she is. We can talk about so many things about her, but the biggest thing is, and it constantly comes up, and I was talking to like MCoC Encyclopedia about this recently, is everything exists in her kit, right? There's no debuffs for someone to shrug off. Her stun is even passive. She doesn't need to rely on something to control the power gain. She just got to land her heavies, man. And then she's got the really great damage off of her SP2. If the champion doesn't have buffs, yeah, her damage isn't quite as good, but it is more than adequate, and she can handle power gain problems for you. And then even just at a single buff, her damage ramps up significantly. I did so many America Chavez videos, war videos, showcases, that we've moved to now, it's just gonna be an annual thing. Every 4th of July, I'm going to do a video based on all the amazing fights that America Chavez has pulled off for me over the course of that previous year. And I will talk about how to use her, all the various ways. And it still happens like in Battlegrounds. I'll have a fight and someone's like, I got Vega trapped, but then I place my red skull. And I'm like, no, you don't. That is a lot of buffs for my girl America to absolutely dominate. It's just phenomenal. She's amazing. Even like personal bias aside, whenever someone says that, I've removed my bias, you're a little like, did you really? I truly believe she is the best Mystic champion in the game for overall use, war, Battlegrounds, questing, long form, even was good in Necropolis and fight she could absolutely take. Don't try to take that Spider-Man 2099. I see a lot of people pulling their hair out over that. All right, let's go ahead and quickly check out my own personal rankings. Okay, these are my own personal rankings for the recommended. That's what we just went over in the video. Go watch it. It's really, really good. Make sure I drop knowledge on all the champions there. And then remember, this is the fully like bias, right? This is like, if I just did the list and I wasn't really concerned about putting out like great advice, it was only on my experience and my just kind of own fun play style. This is essentially what it looked like. It's a good thing we have the MCoC Illuminati, and also I realized that when I'm doing these They should be advice and helpful, not just like, here's what I enjoy. But you can see America Chavez is still on the top. Kushala, number 2. I do think Kushala is worthy of that conversation. It's not just because I got to help in the design process with my good friend DLL, or because I was a fan of her comics before or anything like that. White Tiger is the one that kind of shouted out on my notes to talk to you about. And because there's a big difference. And you saw how much I liked her when we were talking about her and recommended. And a lot of that's due to, for me, especially when I'm playing Battlegrounds, or when I'm doing my initial rank ups as I'm going through a class, and it's like the first rank 4s or those sorts of things, the first rank 3s, I love that versatility. I love it. I can take out Serpent with her, and then there's all these other fights along the way. You can tell that's what I really enjoy about Rintra as well, and what I am enjoying a ton about Shathra, is there's just all these fights where I just kind of get stuck, or I'm going on a quest, or I'm like, I just want to play this champion. And it feels like the quest is asking me for very specifically this thing. But you know what? This champion I really enjoy, I think they can take it too. And I go in and I find out, lo and behold, more often than not, they can. And that's what I mean. If you rank up for fun, while also these modes that you're really interested in, you're very rarely going to find yourself in a scenario where the quest or the war is like, hey, you've got to rank up someone else. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, let me know what you think you got right. Let me know what you think you got wrong. Make sure you check out all the other Illuminati channels, and then all the other top 10s, and then of course the big Illuminati full all together going through it. Massive update for December for the general tier list. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.